Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about The Evil Dead, the 1981 classic movie. The original one, the better one in my opinion out of all the other movies. Even though I also like the second movie. The third one I just can't get on board because of how campy it is. I know a lot of people love the third movie, but it's just too campy for me. And then as you already know about the remake, I don't like the remake movie. I enjoyed the TV show quite a bit, but this movie is amazing in my opinion. And it's so low budget, but it just feels so good and demonic and everything. And it's that classic story of a group of people in a wooden cabin in the woods, and a whole bunch of freaky deaky stuff starts happening. And it stars, of course, the legend Bruce Campbell, and probably like one of his first like real acting gigs. Now, Sam Raimi wrote and directed this, also produced this, and also Robert Tapert produced this. Those three have collaborated on so many different projects, Hercules and Xena. And Rob and Sam have also made like other stuff like Cleopatra 2525, Jack of all trades, the Evil Dead television series, Spartacus, like all kind of stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? They even worked together, I believe, on Spider-Man. And so like, this all started because of one filmmaker in college having like a passionate dream to make movies. He wanted to make a horror movie. He didn't have much, him and his friends didn't have much money to make it. They had to do whatever they had to do. They had to film this themselves. They didn't even have like a huge like crew to work with and everything. I remember hearing how they was like on like, cause like there's a river scene that in the beginning of the movie where you see like, cause the thing about this that's really cool, that's a unique concept you don't see in other movies, other horror movies, is that there's a presence moving throughout the woods and like the river and stuff like that, but you never see it. You just like see close-ups and you see something traveling alongside like, the openness of like the woods, that's a concept you've never seen before. It's so unique. And I remember hearing like how they were just on like a boat, and filming like that river scene, just holding the camera in his hand and stuff like that. And but to get this like started, they had to prove that, hey, this is what the concept of like what the movie's gonna be. There's a short film called Within the Woods. It's also on the DVD. I haven't finished that yet. I really should, but anyway, it was kind of like a concept art type thing for what this movie could be, and what's so ironic is that Stephen King himself saw the movie and helped get it out and everything. He gave it rave reviews. Because who really wanted to make this horror movie about demons and a tree that assaults like a woman and like all this other stuff? And and this movie is very disturbing, it's very demonic, it's very like chilling and everything. And it grossed a lot of people. There's a lot of gross visuals in this, so much that the fact they got an R rating is surprising. There are some countries that wanted to ban this movie, like England and stuff. They don't like this scary stuff influence like the youth and everything. And so like it took a good while sometimes for like other countries to get their hands on this movie, especially like that of London or England or whatever, or Britain or whatever you call it. I can't ever tell the difference between the three and stuff. And so like, and of course this spawned a bunch of sequels. It spawned the second movie, which is kind of just a remake of the first movie, because I think they had like a different like company that made the second movie, and so because of that they didn't have certain rights or whatever, so they had to change stuff here and there, and plus they got to explore a whole lot more. So it's basically just a retelling of the first movie, just changes a bunch of stuff, and it added humor, and it added Ash as like the main central character, where at first in the first movie you don't know if he's the main character or not until the end. And then but then they made that that lackluster remake, in my opinion, in 2013. I've already made a video about that. Go watch that. I just don't like the remake compared to this. Yes, the remake had better visuals and stuff like that, but you couldn't feel nothing. Everything felt cheap. Everything felt not cheap, but everything felt like CGI cheap, I guess you could say. Everything felt like just not as real as, like, the realness and prosthetics and like the stop motion stuff they used in the first movie. The first movie uses stop motion. You can tell when they use stop motion and stuff. I've never really been a fan of stop motion, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying? And the way they use it in this is very like, holy crap. Like, I've never seen a dead, ghoulish, demonic body rot like that before, This movie utilizes a lot of blood. It utilizes a lot of gross pus. And it's like all like chunky looking stuff when it comes out. Like, the body is gross. It's nasty. It makes you want to throw up and stuff. And it just starts coming out of nowhere. Like, you're not expecting it to come out. The way he utilizes, like, it doesn't even use slow motion, but like when certain things are happening, like the people being possessed, they'll like move a certain way, they will walk a certain way in a stagmented, slow motion kind of walking kind of way. It gives you more of a creepier, eerier vibe and everything, as opposed to the remake where everything just happens so quickly and fast paced and stuff. The way they utilize how the camera just rests on like a certain like person for a good while, it gives you that creepier factor a whole lot more. From the characters, because the characters would just stand there looking from a faraway distance in a very awkward state, and the camera just lingers on that for a long time, and you get that creepier feeling like, my god, why are they so creepy looking, as opposed to the remake. But I will say one thing: the one girlfriend of Scotty, that death kind of lasted a little too long. Like, come on now, just hurry up and speed that up a little bit. That lasted a little too long. The visuals, like I said, are impressive. It was 1981. They had to do a lot of stuff themselves. Especially in the second movie, they had to do a lot of stuff themselves. That giant head and everything. I think it's like a skeleton head, I think, in the second movie. That was real, and somebody stole the crap out of that once production has ended and stuff. In the second movie, they had to remake the cabin and everything. They filmed the first movie in Tennessee. Now, I don't know where they filmed the second movie. I think in the third one, I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. It might be New Zealand, I don't know. But in the remake and the television series, everything moved to New Zealand. That is like the place that Sam and Rob love to like film. It's cheap over there. They know the locals. A lot of people are good actors over there. It has a real old looking vibe to it and stuff. That's why they filmed Hercules and Xena over there in the woods, and their foliage looked very impressive over there. However, one thing I've noticed about New Zealand, no matter what American television show films over there, everything looks bright, like during the daytime. Like, it just looks bright, brightly colored buildings, brightly colored film. Everything just looks bright over there for some reason. Because Power Rangers film over there, Hercules and Xena filmed over there. But in Hercules and Xena, they use props and like they made the buildings themselves because it was set back in ancient Greece. But when you look at their actual landscape of like modern day buildings, everything looks brightly lit for some reason. And so with this movie, it has, let's see, 5 characters. It's that classic story of a group of people in the woods in a cabin. I think this might have been the first movie to utilize that concept. Ever since then, the people have been like knocking them off. There's even a cabin in the woods movie and stuff. And I have to give it up. There's just something creepy and scary about like a cabin in the woods by itself. There's no other buildings around it. It's nothing but the woods, and woods are like a great place to film when it comes to horror and stuff. And a bunch of people deserted out there where there's no civilization. It's just something creepy about it. And the thing about this movie, even though it has the title of The Evil Dead and everything, when you're watching the beginning of this movie, you're not sure what the world's going on. Like at first, you just assume it's just a bunch of kids out, or adults, I should say, or are they teenagers? I'm not really sure. They look too old to be teenagers. Let's just say they're in college. They're just a bunch of people out in like the woods and stuff. And they're driving like over this bridge, they're singing and everything, they're chatting, they're bickering with each other. It's just they're having a good time in the 70s. It looked like they're dressed in the 70s and stuff. And so even though this came out in 81, they look more like they're dressed in the 70s. With the shoes and the clothes and the hairstyles, and like Bruce Campbell's like unibrow, just everything looks like his 70s and stuff. Thank God he had shaved that unibrow off in later years and stuff. But like he actually reminds me of a friend I had in college. They look just so similar. My friend in college had glasses. Anyway, they even had like the same mouth and jawline and stuff. And how they like toot their mouths and everything. It's like ironic. So anyway, but like I said before, when you watch this movie, it just seems like a bunch of kids out in the woods in the cabin and just having a good old time. Like, they're singing, they're dancing, they almost like get into a car accident. Like, it's just like a bunch of like zany stuff that happens in the beginning of the movie that you won't pay attention to because you just assume it's just a bunch of people hanging out. They're drinking, they're having a good time. But like, then all of a sudden, it starts to happen, like the creepiness of like the woods and stuff. And it's like only small creepy stuff at first. And so like, you just like, the wind rustling, you see like the camera moving throughout the woods, something's out there, but you don't know what is out there that's going to get these kids that starts causing all this freaky stuff to happen. And so like, while they're in there, at some point in time, I forgot the first creepy thing that happens. But like I said, it's small creepy, right? Because the book has not been read yet. And so they got this cabin for cheap. And it's an old, dirty, nasty looking cabin. But they're making the best out of it. And so they're walking around and, they're going down in like the cellar and they find like a book and a dagger and then like a recording device. And, they just started exploring, wondering like, what is all this like weird stuff, because it just looks so ancient and creepy and demonic. And the book has like a weird face on it. Now, I will say this. Just like I said with the remake, I said the remake had terrible acting in it from a modern day cast. And the original, like I said in my video, the acting is not very good in this first movie. I hate to say that, but it is true. It's just like a bunch of like newbies and everything. And like I said, this is like, it's kind of like an indie movie and everything on a shoestring budget. So, but even though their acting isn't all that compelling and everything, you just believe the characters. Like you believe who and how they are and everything. So it's Ash, it's Scotty, they're friends. It's Cheryl, Ash's sister. It is Linda, Ash's girlfriend. And it's Scotty's girlfriend, whose name I cannot remember. And stuff. And so, like, and they have all different personalities. Like, Ash is very timid and tame. The nice guy. Scotty's the jerk. Cheryl, the sister, likes to draw. Linda likes to dance. And girlfriend is his girlfriend. I forget. I don't know what Scotty's girlfriend even does and stuff. But at some point, they're looking through the book. They're playing around with the dagger. They're goofing around. And they play the audio that this professor dude is talking about. And he's reading lines from the book. See, this is what happened. And like the second movie, they start to actually, I think, read from the book. In the remake movie, they read from the book. Like, who reads a foreign language they can't pronounce? And an ancient one at that. Like, that's just so unrealistic. That's why I like the first movie. Because they play the audio of the professor reading from the book. Because he knows how to read that ancient language. And then we start to see the wind start to move and creep around and do all this scary, freaky type of stuff, right? And so, like, they start hearing noises, but they don't know where these noises are coming from. So they're not really sure what the world's going on. And so Cheryl, at some point, after like taking a shower, she's in her robe and she starts to hear more noises. They think it might have been somebody inside the cabin hiding around in there. So she goes to investigate in a robe in the middle of the night with no shoes on. Why? Because in horror movies, people are stupid. And sadly, in horror movies, women were portrayed as being even dumber and stuff like that. And so as she's investigating, want to know who's out there and stuff, that's the disturbing scene of all this stuff happening. The tree wraps her up in vines and it assaults her and everything, sexually. It's disturbing. It's gross. It's like nasty. And it rips her clothes off and stuff. It's like shredding them. Her boobs pop out and stuff like that. She's screaming. She's hollering. She's literally being assaulted by a tree. And it's just kind of like, what the world, man? But it's the show just how demonic and sadistic this demon-like force is. But it's still, they didn't have to go that far, I don't think. And of course, they did it in the remake. And Lucy Lawless from Xena, who was also in Ash vs. Evil Dead, she literally said she can't believe, because she used to hate this movie. She said she can't believe she married the guy who produced this, who caused a woman to get assaulted by a tree and stuff. And so Linda, she makes her escape because she's able to break through the vines, and she runs back through the house, through the woods. It's a very chilling, scary scene. She is trying so desperately to get in the house, but she's reaching for the key. She can't. She doesn't know which key to unlock the door, and they finally unlock it for her, wondering what the world has happened to her. She said it came for her, like there's something, the trees that came for her and everything. She's panted, she's frantic. It's a very disturbing scene. And she said she wants out. It's like she wants to leave and everything. And so they're all like, what? We can't drive you back now. We just got here. And they're like, no, I want to leave. So Ash drives her away, but the car won't start. And that's that really cool, creepy, elongated scene I'm telling you about. It's the rest of the cast far away, just staring. The camera's on them. You see the car trying to crank up, but it won't. And, you know, it's a very disturbing scene. And she's all like, I know it won't start. It's not going to let us leave and everything. And you get that feeling until the car starts, and then she's kind of like, oh. And so they drive, and this is the part I liked a whole lot better than the remake. In the remake, they after this scene happened, they go to, like, you know, back to the bridge, but a river has busted out the bridge, and it's a roaring, ripping like river and everything. I didn't feel all that suspenseful for it, all that creeped out by it. But in this one, I do, because they're driving back to the bridge. But then all of a sudden, it's dark, it's foggy out. Ash stops driving. He goes to investigate in the darkness. Cheryl is just waiting till she can't wait no more, and she goes investigating, and the bridge has been completely mangled and stuff. Then Ash comes up behind her, and he's all like, it's out. And she's all like, no, I knew this was going to happen. It doesn't want us to leave. It wants to keep us here. And she's hollering and she's screaming as the lights are on her, and she's banging on the ground. It's a beautiful, creepy scene. So much better than the remake. Also, with the original one, you don't get no stupid backstory of the characters about, oh, you know, main girl's a drug addict and somebody's a doctor or a nurse or whatever, and the brother hasn't seen his sister in forever. There's none of that stupid like stuff that takes up the story. So after this, Ash is just still playing like the audio from, like, you know, the recording and stuff. And so Cheryl is now just sitting by, like, in a chair near the window, just staring outward. And all of a sudden, like, you know, she takes her pencil and she jabs it in Linda's like ankle and stuff. Or not Linda, probably. Maybe it's the other girlfriend, I'm not sure. But she stabs it in somebody's, like, you know, ankle. And she looks very disturbed in the face. She has like prosthetics and makeup that looks amazing, looks truly demonic. And the way they apply the prosthetics and the makeup on everybody's face that gets infected is truly breathtaking. The first movie is the first one that actually looks very realistic and monstrous. Every other movie and every remake and show just looks like cheap prosthetics and rubbery stuff. I prefer the first movie, the look and the feel of the demon people looks so genuine. It looks creepy. You've never seen nothing like this before. And so everybody just starts getting infected one by one, except for Ash. Scotty's girlfriend is the most demonic looking thing. They had to take her out. While Ash is like cowering in fear, Scotty takes like the axe and he just goes to town on her and everything with that axe. It's very disturbing the way he chops it up. You see the body parts flinging off. You see blood gushing up. You see like he'll hit like the flesh and like scrape like the rest of the flesh away. It's very gross. Then blood and pus is coming out of everywhere and stuff. It's so disgusting and disturbing. So then like maybe it was Linda that got her ankle stabbed, because Scotty's after like, his girlfriend gets completely taken out, and they locked Cheryl up in the cellar, and Ash keeps saying, oh, Linda can't leave because her ankle's messed up. She can't walk on that leg. And Scotty's all like, I don't care, man. I'm leaving. Like, screw y'all. And he leaves. And so Ash is there to fend for himself, and he's scared. Ash is trying to hold everything together, but he can't. He's terrified and stuff. He don't know what the world's going on. Everybody, like, Scotty's girlfriend's dead, and like, his sister and girlfriend, or his sister is like a demon locked in the cellar now. And it's very like, he's freaked out. And then all of a sudden, like, he looks at Linda's ankle and veins starts coming out, and she turns into like a deadite. We learned that term in like other franchises, the other sequels and stuff. And so she turns and he's freaked out, and it's only like a shotgun there and blah, blah, stuff like that. And so like Scotty comes back. Scotty got attacked off screen in the woods by who knows what, and he's jacked up. And so like now is like he's completely out of it, and Ash is just like, in the morning everything's gonna be fine. All of us are gonna leave, and then when he starts mentioning people's names, he realizes, oh wait, they're either demons or dead. And so Ash just has no idea what he's gonna do. And I love that he's not like a hero. He's just a rando dude who's got thrust in this situation, and he's trying to make the best out of it and try to figure things out. Well, at some point, like, he realizes he's just gonna have to kill, like, all the demons and stuff. So he just starts killing them all left and right. With like, he has the shotgun and everything. And then when it comes to that of Linda, Linda, he has to like stab her in like the back and everything, with the dagger. And she's like, at some point his leg gets messed up, and I think Scotty helps out to like kill and stuff like that. But I think he has to take Scotty out too. I can't really remember. So then, it gets to like that unique assemble scene. So he takes her out to the shed. He straps it down to the table. He grabs the chainsaw. He turns it on. It's a cool, awesome, boss-like scene when he turns on that chainsaw. The camera only focuses on like, the handle and the blade, and it's just like awesome and everything. It just rises up like, and he's getting ready to chop her head off, but he can't, so he buries her instead. And she comes out of the ground. She's scratching at his leg and messes it up. He's going down in the cellar because the cellar door has now been open, and so he goes down there to try to like look for Cheryl. And it's all this crazy stuff. It's like a very long scene of him walking through the house, and the house is literally trying to kill him and stuff. There's blood pouring down from the pipes. There's like a projector that shines on his face, and as the blood is dripping down the projector, it looks like it's dripping down his face until real blood starts to drip down on his face and stuff. He has to take like Cheryl out with like the shotgun and stuff. He's running through the house. Everything's just like creeping, scaring him out. It's awesome. It's a nice chase scene through like, like the house and everything. He's looking at himself through the mirror, but he's looking at himself, and he tries to touch his reflection, and his hand like goops into like the mirror, and then he takes it out. It's like burnt and singed and everything. And it's just like, I think Scotty reanimates and everything. And so then he has to take like Scotty out. And then Cheryl, I don't know if he killed Cheryl first or not, or Linda or whatever, comes back through the house trying to like, kill him and everything. And it's just crazy and everything. It's a great horror movie. Well, he's able to defeat everybody, and then morning time comes, and it's now all over. And he's kind of like, whoo, like sunlight has like stopped this thing and everything. So he walks outside. Everybody's been defeated and everything, and he's holding on to the necklace that he gave Linda and everything, and he's sad and it's somber music. But then all of a sudden, you think everything's fine. You think he's okay until the wind starts shifting again. Something's moving throughout the woods, through the house. It sees him. He turns around and he screams. And so, he got, something got him off screen. He didn't even make it towards the end. He's not even the final dude. He dies and everything, supposedly. But then, of course, they make the second movie and they change some stuff up. There's no more Scotty. There's no more girlfriend. There's no more Cheryl and everything. Now it's just him and Linda. And, some crazy stuff starts happening. Then when he goes outside, that same scene happens, and then he gets thrown in water, turns to a deadite. Bruce Campbell has said this is where the movie picks up. He goes into like the water. So technically you can tie the first and second one in, but you really can't and everything. And one unique thing about this movie is that normally in slasher movies, in horror movies, there's a final girl, not a final guy. Ash kind of changed all that, you know what I'm saying? And normally your demon monster people are men, but it's women primarily in this movie. That's changed things as well. You never really saw that and stuff. So that was really unique. That's one reason why I had a problem with the remake, because in the remake, because you don't really see that many final guys. And so they changed it to, once again, a final girl at the switcheroo of the remake and everything. And, this movie really broke barriers in terms of horror and everything. And, they got influenced by like other movies that helped build this on, like The Exorcist and stuff like that. And it's just so great and unique that they took concepts, just ideas really, from other movies, and they didn't really infuse those concepts in their movies. They came out with something completely original and stuff, like there is no head twisting, turning around. They could have took that from like The Exorcist, but they didn't. You know what I'm saying? No, wait, when did The Exorcist come out? Did it come out in the 80s? Or did it come out in the 70s? I forget. But anyway, I'm probably thinking of Children of the Corn. Anyway. And there's no Freddy Krueger like type stuff in here. Like, it's just all original concept stuff. And like, I love it. And, this is why this will always be my favorite horror movie and always be my favorite one of the entire franchise. Okay, my bad. It's not rated R, it's rated NC-17. And also, I said in the second movie, it's not a giant head, it's a giant tree. My bad. Also, Sam Raimi has regretted adding that tree scene in the first movie and stuff, because he did get a lot of backlash for it over the years and stuff. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.